Good evening, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming. To start off our meeting, we are going to start with owner comments. So if there's anybody that would like to come up to the mic, get started.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dory Moyer, 515 Mirasol Circle. I live over in Mirasol, next to tennis court 1 and 2. I thought since you were talking about tennis today, this would be a good opportunity to bring up a couple of things real quick. I'm not opposed to tennis at all. I love tennis. I like where I live. I like watching people play tennis. I like instructors. I think it's great. I like all sports. However, there has been an uptick. Yes, there has in instruction over there on 1 and 2. Just in case you don't know, that's a residential area. My neighbors above me come from Minnesota. They say we come down here for a vacation. Most of the people live over here, so it's their second home. And they said, why? We have all this noise every morning. We come down here for a vacation to relax. We work 60 hours a week. And all we can hear are the mowers and blowers and tennis and this and that, and more tennis instruction starting at 7 a.m. And not only that, it's the language. And I want to bring up, there needs to be a code of conduct. I'm tired of the F word. I'm tired of my niece being on my patio with me and me having to take her inside because of the language that's going on. They're not only playing tennis. Today, they were playing football. I have a video, very loud. And they play soccer. They play pickleball. Sunday nights, we have pickleball. Sometimes there 25 to 30 people. It's the noise. It's not the tennis balls and it's not the tennis players. It's the noise, it's the language, and so on and so forth. And I just think that something needs to be done about that. We need pickleball courts for our pickleball players. We need pickleball courts for our pickleball players. There are so many of them. It's growing, growing, growing. We need to get that done. And just to finish up real quick is that Kissimmee passed an ordinance for noise. They no longer use decimals, which sometimes the decimals get to be 95 over there if they have 2 blowers going at one time. But this on the tennis court, which I'm not quite sure why we have squeegees to blow the water off, but they have now unanimously passed an ordinance that they no longer use decimal readers. They stand on a property line. If they can hear noise from one property line to the other property, there is a $50 to $500 fine per time they have to come out for that owner that is in violation, per violation. So I just want to say that we need to do something about how many people are playing there, the number of people. It's more the number. Walk-up tennis, no problem. But you get these groups of 20 to 30 people, it is noisy, and we live there. So just wanted to say, please put some consideration, especially in the code of conduct for language violations. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other owner comments?
Barbara Reeve Sharma, 1067 Nash Drive. Couple requests. One. In regards to tennis, that tends to be a hot topic. So there are some residents who are providing lessons at the courts outside of Advantage Tennis. And I've spoken to Nikki about this, that's photographic evidence and all that. The reason is that we're not collecting a fee for this. So it's just me showing a friend or my 5 friends how to play tennis. But it's a basket, balls, tubes, cones, balls flying. So it looks like a lesson, walks like a lesson, sounds like a lesson. Whether they're being paid or not, it is a lesson. Outside of Advantage Tennis, 9 coaches. So tennis people have talked to her to problem solve. How could this be solved? A couple of things. One was, if you are a resident and you want to provide a lesson to a friend that you're not being paid for and you don't want to call it a lesson, perhaps all of those friends' lessons need to be on 4 and 5. And the reason being is that when they're on 1 and 2 or using up court 3, you have these wild balls kind of going everywhere because they're feeding balls into them, hit, and the balls are coming across court. You're trying to have a game, and now balls are underfoot. So it's a little bit of a safety issue. When they take up court 3, it's just another court that they're using that residents can't have a game. Is that my time?
You're good. No,
Oh,
Zoom. You're okay.
So perhaps if all these non-lessons have to work into the 4 and 5 tennis court lesson. The other option might be that there's just no equipment to be used. There's no baskets, ball, tubes, cones. If you're there to play tennis and you're a resident, be actively playing tennis. And maybe a maximum of 6 balls, not the basket of 100 balls being fed, across court. Perhaps that could be a solution. I don't know what the legalities of it all are. Now my request. So I'm in the women's group, open play that's on Mondays and Thursdays, and our time is 8:30 to 11:30. We would like to kindly request that for the months of June, July, August, and September, if we may please play from 7 to 9. We'll shorten it by an hour, but we have a few 70 and 80-year-olds who usually are like to coming off the courts by 8:30 or 9 and not just starting. So they're very concerned about the heat. And I guess last summer I wasn't here, I was away. I guess they just changed the time themselves, but we're trying to do it the nice and proper way this time. Like ask permission, and that way it can be, advertised in all the publications and posted properly. But for those 4 months, that would just be a request that we would like to make. And that's all.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other owner comments? Going once. All right. So with that, I will call to order this meeting. We have enough for a quorum. So we will start by adopting the agenda. There has been a request to move number 8, the Celebration High School Swim Team, up to number 2, and then after the approval of meeting minutes, and then, or excuse me, number 3, I'm sorry, after the Parks and Recreation update, and then everything else will bump down 1. Is there any other request to change the agenda? Do I have a motion to move number 8 up to number 3?
I make a motion move number 8 up to number 3.
Thank you, Marco. Catherine, second. All those in favor? All right. So with that, we will start with our first action item. We have 1A for the recreation meeting on February 26th of 2024. Just a review of the minutes. And after you've had a moment to review that, I will look for a motion to accept. Do I have a motion? Rob, second.
I second.
Marco, all those in favor? Everybody? Okay. Moving on to March 26th of 2024. Do I have a motion to accept March 26th of 2024? Catherine, second with John. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to action item number 2, we'll have a Parks and Recreation update from Nikki.
Okay, so as far as the Parks and Rec Department, what occurred in April 5th, we had a Painting with a Twist event. That went really well in Heritage Hall. We had close to 30 participants, I believe 26. And we're looking at doing another one for fall since we had some good surveys. So stay tuned for that. April 19th, we had music trivia that had over 250 residents. We got some good feedback. Rob, I know 50s, 60s. So we're going to look at trying to do that for fall as well. May 1st, tomorrow, we have a Cinco de Mayo painting, pay for play. We have 50 participants. So it was painting either a piñata or a margarita glass. So that will be tomorrow. So we sold out of that one. And then for June, in July, we're doing summer breakout, 9 weeks for ages 6 to 12 years old. And we're offering something new this summer, a teen development camp for 2 weeks in June, 2 weeks in July. And we have some good, community leaders involved, kind of coming in for the teenagers for roughly 15, 20 minutes a day. So I know we have the foundation coming in. We have a lot of our recreational partner programs coming in to talk to the teens. That'll be roughly 13 to 15-year-olds, and that is a limited spots available. And then just in case for the committee, the Spring Park Playground, that has been approved and expected to complete by mid-August.
And then a big party.
Absolutely.
May not be a discussion point for this, but was the budget 400,000 that was off in the meeting last time?
That was approved from PROA. That was one of their board meetings and then brought to us the last meeting.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right, so with that, we're going to move number 8 up to number 3. So if you will go in your packets, you will see the Lakeside Pool and Jones Room for Celebration High School Swim Team. They are looking to do swim practice from June 1st to November 15th. The times will be from 3 to 5 p.m. It does not give the exact days of the week on there, but we do have Chad Boudreau here, who is the athletic director for Celebration High School, if we have any questions, as well as Principal Todd here as well. So I am going to open up the floor for questions and comments from the committee.
Can I ask what precedent we've used? Are we still paying for baseball court, baseball fields? Have we kind of worked into negotiation? We pay for this, you pay for that.
To be honest, last time that the swimming pool was used, we did have a CROA agreement with the Celebration K-8, and we were using both ball fields as well as this front grass field that was near the street. Since that time, CROA turned it back over to Celebration K-8. No.
That's with the, that's a contract agreement with the K through 8.
Okay.
We don't have a contract agreement with the high school.
Right, it's just K through 8.
And they terminated the contract.
K-8
We no
terminated it,
longer.
not CROA. Okay.
So we no longer. have-
Correction, K-8 terminated it, not CROA. So that was for that. So they did not want that relationship there, just for the K-8. And this is the high school.
So are we in a situation then to pay for use?
So previous years, we've been waiving the fees because they had to pay for a lifeguard. But now that the board approved like our new rules and regulations, this is just something to review whether you wish to continue to either waive these fees or provide complimentary hours a month and charge an hourly rate.
And Chad, can I ask, how many days of the week is this?
Monday through Friday.
So it's 5 days a week, 3 to 5 p.m. And that is using,
Depending on swim meets, like if obviously there's a swim meet
Sure.
on Thursday or something like that, they wouldn't be there.
right. And that is using Lakeside Pool here.
And is that the whole, like how many lanes, the whole pool?
In the past, we've used 3 lanes.
So the only time that the pool would actually close, which that would go to the board for approval, is for swim meets, because they would have to use all 6 lanes.
Okay.
But I know the swim meets, we just didn't get a list yet. So do you know roughly how many meets that you would have for home?
It's usually around 4
Around
at
14.
most
For the entire season?
for the entire season, which starts in August till November.
How does this impact the rest of the community?
So as far as the swim practices, the pool can hold 6 lanes. So they would take half, the pool residents could use the other half. From 3 to 5, we don't have any recreational partner programs that utilize it. The Cyclones start afterwards, or they may take 1 lane if they are doing if they're doing a private lesson or not at 4 o'clock. It'll only impact the residents for the home swim meets. And usually we have it roughly closed from 3 to 7 p.m.
And no problems so far.
As of right now, we only had 1 resident express concerns about the closure, but again, the closures would have to go through board for approval.
I don't know if this is could relate as concern, but is Heritage Hall or Island Village pool able to use as a alternate location
We have a very small pool on that.
Yeah. They don't have the
Pretty-
labels.
It's the third biggest, I think. Or North Village is pretty big too.
Not
So,
really.
yeah, as far as Island Village, there's no swim lanes.
Okay.
And Spring Park, that's like a 25-yard pool, and Lakeside's 25 meters. So Lakeside's a little bit longer and can hold more participants.
In North Village.
North Village doesn't have lap lanes.
Okay. But
It's a little bit smaller.
assuming, I mean, it's only a maybe 3 9 inches, less than a foot, I think, right? Between the 2 yards and 3 meters. But assuming, you know, residents did complain, would Heritage Hall for like 1 day a week be an acceptable alternative? The Spring Park?
Yeah, that would be fine.
I think, John, consistency is the key. And I think it would cause like confusion with the residents as well as participants. So I just highly recommend we keep in one location unless a pool, you know, is down, they have an alternative to go to.
That's awesome. Good to have Shad here, the principal. It's an honor for us to have you two here, sir. Thank you so much. This program is awesome. I believe if you don't hurt anybody and you have space and room to attend them, it's amazing.
I don't know if this is out of bounds. Am I allowed to ask Celia a question? She's a board member.
I guess, yeah.
I know you were in negotiations with the county. Is this the type of thing that we should look into maybe? I know you were part of the board, but I'm talking to you, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to ask if there's any repercussions for us recommending this to the board when the board had been trying to kind of negotiate, we do this, you do that, and that was next. Should we charge an hourly rate? Like, do you have any suggestions? Will this impact things?
All I know is I'm speaking as a resident who
Okay.
utilizes Lakeside when they have that, and I never have a problem with it because there's always a lane to swim, but I don't know what the board, Dave, do you know if we have any
Negotiations with the county?
with the school district?
Oh,
No, I have no idea. I have no idea.
They've been doing it.
I mean, I'll say like at every high school in the county, nobody has a pool, so everybody's going somewhere. So whether it's Den John, St. Cloud Pool, I know St. Cloud and Harmony share the St. Cloud Pool, Gateway and Osceola share the Den John Pool. So it really is a benefit for the school and the kids to be right here in town where they can make a quick drive over to the pool. And for us, an hourly rate, I don't know what that hourly rate would be, but as a non-revenue generating sport, it would be a death blow to the sport basically in terms of having to pay whatever that hourly rate is for the course of 5 months almost.
Plus you've been doing it for years. Oh, I'm not arguing the need for this at all. I was just curious. I've sat in a bunch of meetings and I can't remember what was said and what between some of the CDB meetings, some of the board meetings. I just didn't know. I know at one point they were trying to open up the track potentially to the town. So that's why I was asking what the big picture is here. If that was
The only
something we wanted to
requirement
try
for
to
the
tie in.
district is that we have a lifeguard on duty that you pay for.
Okay.
That's pretty much it from that. It's how we do the pool is really just good faith effort from both sides.
No, I was just trying to understand the big picture. Thank you.
If I may make a suggestion, since Wednesdays are kind of the day that you may meet anyway. Consistently make Wednesday Heritage Hall Spring Lake Day. That way it's consistency and there's an alternative. It's just a suggestion. If no one likes it, it's fine.
What's the benefit? What's the point of moving it though?
So if residents want to use the pool during the hours, they have more.
Probably
availability.
easier for the residents just to go to Heritage though, right?
What's that?
Probably easier for the residents just to go to Heritage.
I feel like
Maybe.
switching might be more confusing for us.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
confusing.
That's fine.
All right, I'm going to open it up for a vote or a motion. If anyone would like to motion that the Celebration High School swim team would have practice starting June 1st through November 15th. They would have 3 lanes Monday through Friday, with the exception of swim meets being here or there. And start time is 3 to 5 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the celebration.
John second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. And I do think that I know one of the things that Crow is trying to do is partner with the schools more. So hopefully as we continue to show that there'll be more partnerships as well. Okay, all good. Moving on to number 3 is Embrace of Celebration Music Festival. We have their facility request. So I'll give you a moment to review that. This event looks to be November 23rd. The request for the space is 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. We're expecting 300 adults with 100 children. This would be for lakeside closure, a mini stage, generators, and audio visual.
I'm sorry, the generators, this is what they're bringing on property. So they're bringing generators, audio and visual, but they're gonna ask for a small stage.
Okay. And then you can see there are additional equipment requests for chairs, tables, the small rounds, again, this small stage, as Nikki had mentioned, coolers, extension cords, power strips. So this is for a facility and equipment rental application. So this would be approving the event. It is not a facility waiver, correct?
So they're trying to waive the fees, and that's close to, with the discount of 20%. You're looking at $2,644 with the facility fee as well as equipment. That's not including staff time. Last year, staff time, they used 43.5 hours of our team's time. So I really would recommend that you would charge them this rate and give them the nonprofit 20%. Because we're already doing that with other organizations. I think we need to follow through with this as well.
I was gonna say, isn't that the whole reason we spent that time creating the framework?
Correct. And to confirm, the 2644 does include their 20% discount.
That's correct. Yep.
I'll open the floor up for any discussion. Any questions?
Does Embrace have the funds to meet that? To just be a down.
This is a fundraiser for them. So it could be that some of the funds that they raised would be applied towards it.
So it's not like they would die.
No. Katie?
It was mentioned that at the last event that there were issues with keeping the door open throughout the event, and it
Correct.
caused the air conditioning in the room to freeze over.
Mhm.
Is there anything that we can put into place as to let them know that door needs to remain shut throughout the event?
Yes.
I think we could definitely add it to the approval of what's going there. I think part of the conversation is from last year is it didn't break instantaneously. It happened at a later date. And so there was arguments on what did or did not cause it. But it would, if it happened twice and the door was open, we'd have a trend. So, yeah. So I would think, but I definitely think that we can say in order to keep our costs down from running the air conditioning, we wouldn't do that in our homes. So we need to keep that closed. Absolutely.
And you can have them do a deposit like a normal facility rental does. So that way, if something were to occur, at least you can withhold their deposit.
And does this 2644 include the equipment rental? Or the
Yes.
equipment? Okay. it does.
So, for equipments in the past, you'll see some requested, at this meeting. Some equipment fees were waived in the past in order to be a sponsor. So I'm not sure if that, as a committee, you're interested in that as a sponsorship. To either waive the equipment fees, since this is an outdoor event, or you wish to continue with them, charging them, equipment and facility fees.
I think it just need to be consistent. Quick question. The additional hours that your team had to put in, how much did that cost? Was that included in the fee that they're paying?
That was in it. So on top of the 2644 for 2024, that would be an additional fee.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, last year, they charged,
Additional thing.
correct, we invoiced them $1,674.
And
And I do want to confirm that there has been a safety plan submitted for this.
They did, it's included in the application.
Do they have insurance? They're required to have insurance, right? Or is that for like?
They're required to have insurance. That's on the last page of the application is their safety plan.
Any additional comments or questions?
I just think we need to keep things consistent. So if we're following the framework, we need to follow the framework. Otherwise, every single meeting is going to be waiver request.
Any other comments, questions? Do we have a motion to proceed with the facility application, looking at the 20% discount for the space plus any additional staff hours that would be needed to do the 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., knowing that that 2644 does include equipment. I do think too, just from past two, that we would probably want to work with Grand Manners on when an equipment deadline is due. So you can't day of ask for additional equipment, additional staff, those types of things, because I don't think they would be staffed to handle it. And that just creates chaos. So the motion would be 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., the 20% discount, and then including equipment with a particular 48-hour notice of when equipment would need to be established by.
Is that enough time for you guys? 48 hours?
If you needed more equipment.
I think a 2-day notice is due. And
And
like
that's
if they're
Saturday,
asking
right?
for
So
like
at
200
least-
more chairs, that may be a little bit short notice, so maybe a week
Okay.
would be fine.
So keeping the same, amending it from 48 hours to 7 days. Do we have a motion? John, second. Catherine, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you have what you need for that?
I do.
All
Thank you.
right. Moving on to number 4, we have the Celebration Foundation Winter Wonderland. There are binders that have been spread out amongst you. There was an additional meeting that took place with Lauren and Nikki from Grand Manners, Katie from PROA, myself representing Recreation Committee, Debbie Jackson, Dory, who are there, as well as Kathleen Scipio, who is there from Foundation. So I do want to just read the recap of that meeting, and then I will also read the Foundation's response to that. Thank you for coming out. I'm going to go through. Thank you for coming out together last Friday. The meeting was both productive and enlightening, providing us with clear direction on what's needed from each parties to ensure the success of Winter Wonderland event for Celebration Foundation and our community. As Nikki outlined, the steps include a thorough review by the Recreation Committee of the information compiled in the binder. To maintain accuracy and transparency, I have prepared a detailed recap of our discussion below and have also included points that may or may not have been addressed during the meeting. Please review the recap and the additional notes to ensure all details are correct. Should you find any inaccuracies or if you have more information to contribute, please kindly reply by April 28th. This will allow me to integrate your feedback into the final presentation for the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting scheduled for April 30th. So these bullet points are in regards to what the committee went back to Foundation to ask information on. The floor layout update. We reviewed the floor plans for Heritage Hall and the pool deck, confirming they align with the previous year's layout. It was noted that Grand Manners is open to having buffets on the pool deck, pending approval from the Recreation Committee. We also addressed accessibility for wheelchair users, highlighting that Megan, a regular attendee, conducts prior accessibility check of the venue. Notably, unlike 2023, when the pool was closed during the event, this year the pool will remain open until 8 p.m. As a result, while the event is in progress, part of the pool deck will be sectioned off and close to residents, but the pool itself will remain accessible to residents. In regards to the safety plan, which is in your binder, that is there. The safety plan met Grand Manners requirements. Although an inclement weather policy wasn't discussed, it was agreed to relocate the bar from the pool deck to the patio on the side of Heritage Hall to accommodate the alcohol policy. In regards to estimated ticket sales, 150 tickets will be printed. Discussion confirmed that the 150 included allocations for bartenders, caterers, entertainers, volunteers, sponsors, and foundation staff. Attendance typically ranges from 110 to 120 people, with a flow rather than everyone entering at once. Concerns were raised regarding space occupancy in Heritage Hall during the event, leading to the discovery of additional usage of the pool deck area. So when we discussed it in the prior meeting, we didn't think the pool deck was going to be used at all. So I do want to note that that is a change. Debbie and Dory confirmed on average about 30 people are in Heritage Hall at one time. While fences will be utilized for stability and located approximately 2 feet from the pool, picture is provided in your binder as well. The fences are to be rented, delivered, and removed by the foundation without assistance from Grand Manor staff. Current tables and chairs that are on the pool deck will be utilized. In regards to venue capacity, a specific capacity for the venue was not determined, though a detailed diagram was provided outlining table sizes, Christmas tree placements, and exits. Volunteer or staff presence at entrance and exits was not addressed. It was confirmed that capacity for that room is normally 120 guests using 60-inch rounds with chairs for banquet tables and chairs inside Heritage Hall. And then for the regulatory matters, it was noted that the county now requires 2 sheriffs for the event. So if there's an event serving alcohol, that's a county rule. Kathleen did inquire on behalf of Hazel whether it's necessary to present Winter Wonderland's proposal to CROA. Nikki clarified that if it's approved by the Recreation Committee, a CROA presentation would not be needed. However, if it's not endorsed by the committee, the CROA board will review it upon the foundation's request. So it would be up to them to move it to the next level. Kathleen also sought clarification on how rental hours are calculated, and Nikki affirmed that the rental period would span from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, as the room is not available for other groups to use. Additionally, Nikki confirmed that the 20% discount on the hourly rate for nonprofits organizations would apply. There was no additional discussion for additional rental fee on the pool deck. Points not discussed was the safety and inclement weather policy. However, it is included in the binder, as was mentioned earlier. And it was mentioned in the binder that the VIP event would be canceled in the case of inclement weather. I said I appreciate that this information was provided and suggest we all note that's available for review, even though it wasn't a topic of discussion. The fence location for the pool deck. On Friday afternoon, Grand Manors requested that the fence be positioned at least 5 feet away from the pool edge, citing a safety concern. The specific request was not covered during the meeting. Previously, they said 2 feet for that. And then alcohol consumption monitoring. The monitoring of alcohol consumption on the pool deck was not addressed in the meeting. I would propose to the committee the use of 2 different cups for alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, and we'll seek additional suggestions effectively managing this aspect. And then I went on to state who was in the meeting. Since then, we did get a response from the foundation, so I want to respond to that. The safety plan. It is understood that the bar setup will be located beside the building where the guests were served as they enter the venue in 2023. In the event of inclement weather, the catering tables will be moved inside where the 6-foot tables are currently on the layout identified as Marketplace. For estimated ticket sales, tickets to be printed will be reduced to 120 to eliminate any exceeding capacity of the venue. This event is designed to be an open house where people enter the event at different times throughout the evening. It is not a sit-down dinner event. And then the temporary fencing can be placed 5 feet from the pool's edge. To be ADA compliant, the required minimum is 3 feet.
Only 3? I thought it was 4 according to Laura statute.
3. Well, 5 works. Minimum.
Right.
The minimum. Yeah. Minimum.
So based on that is everything that has happened since we met and asked for that, that's there. give you a couple minutes to go through the binder and at the same time also open it up for any questions or comments.
My only comment question is on fencing. It looks like we used it last year. Were there any concerns about starting this for, I guess, safety of it?
There were not any comments or concerns from residents or Grand Manors that I'm aware of. Is that correct?
That's correct. Okay.
It was like kind of bolted to the floor, something fall over some child like
No,
leans against or something.
No, I don't think children go to this event.
Well, I mean,
No,
if they're in
the
the pool,
deck
Oh,
will be
oh, oh.
open. Yes.
so the pool, like if the child's, you know,
No, that makes sense.
Either
It's a great
side.
question.
Yeah.
It was actually proposed for the fences because previously it was proposed pipe and drape like this. And the foundation felt that that wasn't secure,
Yeah.
where they felt the fences were secure. So that was a solution provided.
Because previously the pool was closed.
Yeah, and I'm not also comfortable with the 2-cup thing because cups can be swapped out very easily. And if the pool deck is open, the potential for a child drinking something that they're not supposed to be drinking.
It was
is
not
possible.
addressed in Foundation's reply about using the 2-cup. So I don't think they like that idea either based on that. I think the overall discussion would be if you are allowing any liquid consumption on the pool deck, how do you monitor alcohol consumption with the pool open?
True. And shouldn't they be closed containers? You know, like not just an open cup, not like an open solo cup. Shouldn't they have covers on them?
What's the county ordinance about alcohol in pool decks? Isn't there a statute?
No.
Katie had asked about that as well, and Lauren did say it is a Florida, make sure I'm saying this right, it's a Florida statute that there's no alcohol to be consumed on the deck. It's not a CROA or a celebration or if a pool's open, that's
So the
the
workaround
law.
is closing the pool. Yeah, it's the best solution.
If there was a request to close the pool, if the recreation committee made that suggestion, that would elevate it to CROA. That's not something we can or cannot decide. It is a CROA decision, correct?
if we did
Correct.
close the pool, that would increase the rate that we charge, right?
Last time we did not have an additional charge for the pool or the pool deck. That would be something that would need to be discussed.
Well, the pool wouldn't be in use. It's just around the pool deck,
Well,
correct?
my understanding is they have a fence here, so residents can still use the pool while the event's going on. It's just it's fenced off.
Mhm.
But a 4-foot fence, someone could
Walk over
conceivably
it.
jump over it or walk over it.
Or walk
And a
around it.
minor could get alcohol, even if it's a different cup.
That was my point.
Or, I mean, if someone leaves an alcohol cup and someone else who doesn't have an alcohol cup grabs it and gets alcohol themselves, that could reduce revenue.
It's a
For
lot of liability.
people. So maybe an armband too, for those who are allowed to have alcohol or bought an alcohol ticket.
It's an adult only event.
When there are children in the pool
In
area.
the pool area, they can jump over the fence.
We can't do any owner comments. I'm so sorry, Debbie.
Well, just
There
think of
is-
all the events you have and special events has. We all have alcohol. Aloha Night is gonna have alcohol. And
Right.
kids are gonna be there.
Is it surrounded by a pool?
No,
but
it's
that
surrounded by a
doesn't-
lake. Yeah.
I
It's
think
got
the-
kids. We don't have children at this event.
I think the concern comes into what children, no children are relevant. It is whether we're allowed to have alcohol around the pool deck per the Florida statute or not. And that's my understanding is it's not up to us or CROA to allow it or not. It's a rule. If the pool is open, you can't have alcohol out there.
Well, I don't think that's a good topic, if that's the Florida statute.
Yeah, it's either the pool is closed or it's not. Whether there's alcohol there or not. The pool is closed, you can have it. If the pool's not gonna be closed, they can't.
So then in this case, the pool has been suggested to be open. The recreation committee would need to vote or motion accordingly with the pool open. Then if the Celebration Foundation said, you know what, we want to ask for it with the pool closed this time, it would not go through this committee and go straight to CROA, correct?
Right.
Okay.
But if they do close the pool, don't we have a fee structure for the pool?
No, we don't have a fee structure.
Because we don't ever close the pool.
I mean, we do it for the meets when the,
Correct, and you don't charge the high school.
Was the pool closed in the past?
Sorry?
Was the pool closed in the past?
In 2023, it was closed. It's the only, 2023 was the only time this event was at Heritage Hall. So it only has 1 year to be closed.
And since the pool was closed, that was closed only during the event hours. It was like closed those entire days.
I think that's when the deck repair was taking
That's right.
place.
Yeah, I
So
think
it was, yeah, the timing worked out well.
But if we do close the pool, will we close it just during the event hours or we close it the entire time? So they're setting up and taking down and during the event itself.
I believe last year, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 3 to 10. Because we closed it for setup as well. So,
In that case, I think Foundation would go to PROA saying we would like it to be closed from this time to this time. I don't think it's for us to say.
Well, it's just something
Right.
probably needs to figure it out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right, so that's discussing alcohol on the pool deck. The other points were that's right, the safety plan, which we have there. Hold on, get there, so make sure I have it. The other points was the floor layout. So you do have the diagram there in front of you. The safety plan, ticket sales, we should highlight that. We said 150 in this meeting. In the response from the foundation, it drops to 120. But also to confirm, it was confirmed in that meeting that this includes your bartenders, your caterers, any staff, any entertainment, etc. So even though tickets are printed, there would be no more than 120 people total.
And if it became inclement weather, the 120 fits comfortably?
The 120 is it's 125, right? It's the
120. So when Danny does facility rentals, we do round tables in there with roughly 8 chairs each. It gets tight, even when you have a whole set of 120 with equipment, it is tight. So even when Danny does reservations with all the tables and chairs, he tells folks 110 because it does feel tight. If we put all the tables and chairs, now they're not gonna use the chairs like how we set up, you know what I mean? It's gonna be obviously a different
Fire
setup.
marshal code that's black and white.
Yeah,
And just follow.
not in this case, unless we wanted to send a diagram to be reviewed, because it's a different, there's Christmas trees and there's different size rounds. You have the little cocktail rounds and the normal rounds there as well. The one thing that they did highlight is that if they were to bring in those tables and chairs, they would move the 6-foot-long market tables.
I'm just concerned if it does become an indoor event, that it's gonna be a safety hazard, God forbid anything should happen.
So
Even though there's a lot of in and out of people. there's
So are you
potential
saying you would want a capacity?
capacity.
You would want a capacity at certain times, or if, I mean, because they're saying they're gonna move it in.
If 120 can fit comfortably, safely, with the indoor situation if there's inclement weather, then I'm okay with it. If they're moving those other tables and cut it down, just as an example, by 10 people, 15 people, does that make it an unsafe environment? No.
It's incorrect.
I'm not saying whether it's correct or
No, no,
not.
no, no,
I was
you-
making a point
No, no, no,
whether,
the tables that are on there, we're going, instead of having a marketplace, that would be the buffet. We're not moving additional tables
so
in.
then what would happen with that marketplace?
Well, we would save them for the next day. We're only talking about for the evening for 3 hours. The rest of the event takes place on Saturday and Sunday. So we would bring the marketplace back in on
So you kind of
Saturday.
would swap it out.
What
You
you
would put
see,
the tables in and take out the marketplace till the next day.
no, the marketplace
She
table,
says yes, you
The
say no.
caterers would go into
Where
where
the
the marketplace is on your.
And then the marketplace comes out.
Is not being used.
it's just the items on the marketplace don't go on the table.
Where would they go?
In a truck, outside.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying.
I'm just trying to
you
understand.
visualize
I've
it.
been in rooms where I've had events
Yeah.
that, yes, we're gonna have to say 200 people. The weather got changed. Now those 200 people and the tables and the chairs and the food and everything else is now in a place where it's over capacity.
Right, well, see, I
That's
just want
what
to
I'm
make sure
concerned
that you're clear on that. It's basically, if this was the 6 tables right here,
Mhm.
that's the marketplace. This is where we usually have the event, okay? We were to say, we were to cancel it, but then we have this event renting there is costing us over $6,000 that we're giving to Crow. We were saying it costs us $10,000 for the food. So here's your marketplace, okay? Here's the event in here with the tree and only 14 tables, not as many as they usually put up, but most of them are smaller. So instead of saying the marketplace and all our baskets are here, that evening is going to be the food.
This
We're
is
not gonna have-
exactly what I was
Yeah,
asking.
so
Does
we're
the
not moving
marketplace
new
go
tables
out
in.
and the food come here?
That's right. We're not moving new tables in.
Okay, that's all I,
So I
I
just
just
wanna make
asked
sure
for
you-
clarification.
Yeah,
I
that's fine.
understood the first time.
Okay.
So I'm okay with how you guys have it, but one thing I would suggest, so we don't have fire marshal issues, is when you're taking tickets, have the person have some sort of clicker and they can just record. And that way, if on the very rare circumstance where you go over that 110 attendees you expect, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like
Well, they have to
ebb
sell
and
tickets,
flow.
John. Certain amount.
We're selling
No, I know.
tickets, so we're not gonna sell more than 120, which is capacity. So if everybody shows up at the same
It's not an
time,
open event.
it's still, we're under capacity if it's 125.
Well,
The
okay, so
120 does
120 is the
include the
amount,
caterers and all of that as well, so
So
it's not
that's-
even selling the 120 tickets.
and you said 150 on here, but anyway.
Yeah, but we have
been
revised.
revised.
It's revised to 120 per their response.
So yeah, even if you have all 120 come up, you're gonna go over a fire marshal with all the employees and
No, no,
volunteers.
not
No, she's
120
saying it
includes
includes
them.
Okay,
So
so
just say there's a 120 and there's 10
how many
employees.
tickets
There's
are gonna be printed?
110.
How many tickets are gonna be printed?
The letter said that 120, let me read it here, so.
But that doesn't mean we sell them. You know, we take into consideration.
Tickets to be printed will be reduced to 120 to eliminate any possibility of exceeding capacity in the venue.
The venue is 120.
Can I just chime in real quick? Okay, so Danny does facility rentals with 12 5-foot round tables with 8 chairs each, sometimes 10 per table. So 120 people could fit in that room with all these tables and chairs. So I don't think it's the capacity. They'll be able to fit 120 with their trees.
Okay.
I think the concern that we have here is the alcohol or not. If the pool is open, we have to abide by the rules, which the rules of pool say no alcohol in the pool deck. If they move their bar away, and maybe if you had like a volunteer or whatnot, just monitoring the pool deck to ensure there's no alcohol going out on there, then I personally don't see a problem.
Because that's part of the event, that we have the tables and chairs out there. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's what we had last year. And, you know, we have moved the bar from the outside to the other side to the grassy knoll area. But the whole event is that's part of the event. It's just like we do it at Lakeside. They have alcohol on the deck there you know, and it's when you run the Jones room, you get that and you get the whole
But
thing.
it's not part of the pool deck.
So-
That's where we're in
So,
trouble on.
so what I'm saying is if you wanna, if they wanna close the pool at 6 o'clock when the event starts till 10, then is that, yes, you can have it on the pool deck if they can take their glass being
That's a
served.
PROA decision. We
And then they
can't
take their
say.
glass. That's what they did last year.
Right.
And if that's not the case, then I think then.
If that's the
we
sticky,
have
like,
to
can we
go.
just for them to make a choice on that?
Yeah.
Recommendation.
Wait, is it actually an Osceola County law?
It's a Florida, Osceola County.
I'm pretty sure I've been to a lot of resorts in Florida and I'm getting served alcohol 3 feet away from the pool.
It's considered a private event
All the
in
hotels.
hotels and things. So it's a private.
It's different.
This
for-
is not a
different
community
rules for
event. This is a
hangar
community event.
Pool versus a resort pool,
Just like
based
you
on
could
the
have-
insurance
You
that
can
they
have swim up bars, but it's in a private place. It's
But
a
if it's,
hotel.
but if it's an Osceola
This is
County
an Osceola
law,
County.
it should apply to everything.
That's
you were
true, but there is a difference between community events and private events.
All right,
So let's open this up for a motion.
I'd still like to get some clarification. on
Yeah.
that. So you say here you're expecting 110 max. How many non-attendees are gonna be in the building, including the sheriffs?
That's why.
I mean, employees.
Was
Employees, volunteers.
Well, the staff is counted in the ticket. The staff, you know, foundation staff. And then the only other people would be the caterers and the musician. And it depends on the caterers. They have to tell me, you know, like last year we had 7, I believe, that came in. So 7.
That's
And
9 right there, not including the possible attendees. So you're kind of hitting at 120 to 110.
I think the capacity is for the room. If we have the pool deck, then we can have, you can.
So it's only an issue
Yeah,
in
it's
inclement
inclement
weather.
weather.
Yeah.
Which would be hitting a cap, but potentially. So I'm saying you probably, even when you have someone taking the tickets, just have a head count. And that way, if you get close to that 120, you solve the.
I've been to this event. I think you're looking at it the wrong way. I mean,
There's a
people,
lot of ebb and
people
flow.
come and go. No, the only people that are gonna stay the whole time are the people working it.
There's a lot
And
of.
especially if the
ebb and flow.
weather's bad, no
We'll
one's gonna
see.
sit in a stuffy room. I think we're making a big deal about nothing.
So what happens if they do go over the 120 limit? Do the fire marshal find the organizer or do they find the HOA?
I do not know that answer.
I don't have that answer.
Yeah, and like you said, it ebbs and flows. It's not everybody's.
Sure. I'm just trying to get that.
Well, if those parameters are in place.
As long as they take the head
they're
count.
reliable.
We haven't had any issues with foundation going over, like cramming the room last year or anything like that.
Yeah,
So
I was just concerned if there was really bad weather. You know, it's Florida.
It's worth it to look into. We got,
My
what,
concern more
8
is like
months?
Nikki's saying about the alcohol. I think if the pool deck is closed, then it's good, but if the pool deck is not going to be closed, then it's not okay.
Then I think in this case, if that's the way it's leaning, it would be recommended that this would go to CROA to do it with the pool closed or not to do it. And then at that point, John, we can also add that question in and have that answered for CROA if there was an over the number and a fine. If a fire marshal came in and said, this is not okay, we can tell CROA that answer. And it wouldn't, I don't want it to come back to this committee at this point. They need an answer. We deserve to give them that of whether this is going or not. And then if the committee is not comfortable with the pool being open and alcohol being served, then someone makes the motion to recommend it that way. And then if not, we either say yay or nay. Yeah.
Thank you, Celebration Foundation, for providing all the documentation and presentation. It's so nice. It's good. It's rich. I've never seen that before in all my years in rec committee. Thank you so much. Thank you, Victoria, to provide and handling everything for us and bringing to us all the information as well. So based on that, I make a motion to approve the Celebration Foundation Winter Wonderland facility plan. And I'm pretty sure that Parks and Rec, who does an amazing job, will be handling out everything that he needs to be handled.
So there's a motion to proceed with it as it is here, meaning that it would be for this, the 150 plus would be switched to 120 people. There would be no children. And then it would proceed with the pool open, knowing that alcohol would be served.
I think
Right.
the alcohol choice has to be
With CROA. Do we have a second? Rob, all those in favor?
Aye.
Rob?
Um,
Lindsay, how do you
I
vote?
think the alcohol choice needs to be curl.
So that's
I
a
think
nay?
that's
I
something
agree.
we're
Is that a
gonna
nay?
say nay.
Okay,
Nay.
Catherine, nay. John?
Yeah, I don't see them addressing the alcohol question on this thing.
Okay, so that's a nay. Okay, so that is 2 on 3. So the motion did not pass. Do we have a motion to present this to CROA? That, if I understand based on what you all have said, it would be to close the pool. It would be for then alcohol to be allowed because it would be in accordance as we understand this Florida statute. And then in addition to the alcohol in the proposal to the CROA, we would also request where the fine would be assessed if it exceeded numbers in Heritage Hall. Lindsay motion, John second. All those in favor?
Aye.
John, yes. Catherine, yes. Lindsay, yes. Rob, yes. Margaret, yes. Okay, unanimous.
I have a question
Yeah.
about this. We'll be handling the, right now we'll be handling about alcohol and everything in the pool, right? We'll say, not,
They are not staffed for this event. So the Grand Manners Parks and Rec park monitors, my understanding is not like out on the pool deck. It's not, they're not staffing the event.
okay,
It runs completely through the foundation.
thank you.
That's correct, right? Okay. All right, so that's the motion for it to go to CROA. Moving on to number 5, Walk with a Doc. This is the Yasmin Alfonso. I'll give you a minute to go through that.
Am I allowed to introduce myself or not?
Oh, there you are. I'm so sorry. Hi, guys. How are you?
Am I allowed to explain the initiative or do I just wait?
Yeah, yes,
This one-
I'm gonna have you come up here and explain it.
Okay, guys. It's my first time at a committee meeting like this, so, woo, all right. I'm Jasmine Alfonso. I'm a Celebration resident here. In September of last year, I got my dream job at AARP. I now am the Associate Director of Outreach and Engagement for Orlando. What that means is basically I get to support the community and seniors and create like super fun, engaging events from Osceola County all the way to Brevard. So it's literally such a fun dream job that I just get to do working with seniors. So I've been a Celebration resident for about 7 years now. So AARP didn't really do a lot in Osceola County. So I wanted to make sure that Celebration, where I could really put some efforts in and start working with our seniors. So the way I did that, I started building a relationship with the celebrators, with Thriving in Place, with the Veterans Club. We've been doing presentations with them on things like brain health, fraud prevention, Social Security, Medicare, and we've been taking care of lunches for Thriving in Place and bringing in these speakers to talk to them. And then an initiative came about that AARP has with a national nonprofit called Walk with the Doc. It is all over the US. It's basically an initiative where doctors or medical professionals set up walks in the community in order to talk to residents about staying healthy. Every walk has a different health topic that we focus on. So it will be anything from talking about diabetes or talking about, your intake of, salt or whatever that topic is. But one of the big things that we really focus on is brain health. With seniors, obviously, there's a big issue with cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia. Walking and staying connected in the community is really important. So this initiative is something that we started here in Celebration. Originally, I messed up doing the correct idea of what I really need to do, but Nikki and Danny came to my rescue of explaining the process with Celebration. So we started this initiative and we're doing it in the North Village Pavilion. It's on the second Monday of every month. It starts at 8:30 in the morning to 9:30. And what we do essentially is we have a medical professional, a nurse practitioner here who's also a Celebration resident who leads the walk. And we have a health topic that she discusses ahead of time. We do like a stretch with the seniors of those that come to this. And then we do a walk starting at the pavilion all the way around. If you guys know that area, it's like really long, nice to walk around. As part of Walk with the Doc, everybody has to complete every walk a liability waiver. So that's through the national nonprofit. So they complete that, they sign in with us, and then they'll be able to start the walk and the initiative. We have been super blessed. The last walk, we had 42 Celebration residents attend. And it just keeps growing with more residents talking about it. And it's just been wonderful to build that community. I provide healthy snacks. We always get fresh fruit from the farmer's market because this happens on Monday. So I'm able to get it on Sunday, which is great. We provide water, we provide Gatorades, and it's just a way for the community to connect with one another. So it's been a wonderful initiative and something that I want to continue to do in the community throughout this year and then continue it next year. So if I have to renew, I would want to come again and really continue this initiative because it's really growing and we're getting such a positive response from the seniors in the community, and people are coming with their kids and people are bringing their dogs and strollers. It's been awesome to see everybody really come together in support of this initiative. And this is, again, I'll let her introduce herself as a resident as well.
And nice meeting you, each one of you. I'm a retired nurse practitioner. I retired in Tampa from 35 years working for the VA hospital. And my dream when I retired was to move to Celebration, and my dream came through. So I've been a resident here for 2 years and I love it. Even though that I live in Tampa, I was here very frequently and looking at the area. So I'm very active. I walk 7 days a week. I can go up to Georgetown. I can go this way. And I meet so many people, different age group, and I talk to people about the importance to walking and exercise and connecting and avoid isolation. It's very important because the research and the study where they focus about dementia and Alzheimer is not a magic pill. It's actually walking and exercise. And all of my group, I give in a prescription, and he said the best prescription and the best medicine is walk. It is important, and people have come over. It was an article in the Orlando Sentinel, and I have a senior who came, and I said, "How did you hear about it?" I said, "I read it in the newspaper. The Celebration is doing this, and I want to join it." And she was actually from Celebration as well. So this is my passion. I have been an educator for years and a provider, and I want to impact my community. This is my community now, and I want to help our seniors and everybody on every age group to take in little steps for a better health and prevent cognitive decline. And that is actually the most important part. So I definitely ask for each one of you, you support each one of our seniors here in the neighborhood. They will enjoy that, knowing that you support this chapter. And it's great to have it here, and people continue to come and think about your mother, your grandmother. What can you do to help her prevent cognitive decline? We all gonna get there, but 50 and above. But you know what? It's the exercise, the diet, and what we do. And this is actually, I answer questions to every single one as we walk. And I prepare my sign, and everybody follow me, and they ask me questions. And the most important, people connecting to each other. And I tell you, I walked to Georgetown, and I found an elderly lady walking the dog and going like she was about to fall. And I said, "Can I help you?" And then she said, "I just don't feel good." So I was talking to her about an hour, what is going on? Just tell me a little bit about you. Where do you live? She said, like a block away there. And I said, "I can take you home," and all of that. And as I talked to her, she said, I live by myself, I'm isolated, and I'm very depressed, and I'm glad that you stop over here and talk to me. And I invite her to the walk, and I even offer to go to her house, pick it up, and bring her over here. And I have done that to other residents that they don't have transportation. We're willing to help you. We want you to engage with people. And you see how the community, they exchange phone number, they talk to each other, so they become friends. And that is important, because isolation is not good. We want people to stay connected, and we wanted actually this legacy about walking in Celebration, we want to take it to many years to come. So I definitely, love your support on all this. And thank you so much for having us here.
Absolutely. Thank you. We forgot to say too, all our people that come to the walk get a snazzy t-shirt. So that's a bonus.
They get one like this.
They get a pin. And then for our older seniors that don't have like iPhones and iWatches, we have free pedometers too that we give out, that we set up for them so that they can count their steps and whatnot.
And you said this is the second Monday of every month from what time to what time?
8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
Okay, this says 7:30, so that's good to point out.
No, 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. And it says 7:30 because I come and I just set up. I bring a cooler.
Look at the last page of the.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the application.
Yeah, the
Oh,
application
yeah.
says
You can set up.
7:30. I live on Longview, so it's really not far for me to truck everything over, but I set up the area with the waters, with the snacks and stuff, and I get there early just for those residents that come in. And since we do have a nurse practitioner, she always brings her first aid kit and anything that we need just in case, somebody does need any assistance.
As a daughter with an aging mom, I think this is the most amazing program.
Oh, great.
My mother, 93 years old, God rest her soul. She's stuck at home too. Until we got someone to come into the house, she was beelining to death because everything was just going. And as a senior myself, I think this is amazing.
Okay, we're doing it, Catherine.
I'll stay with you. I lost my aunt last year due to complications from dementia. I think this is amazing. I do feel like we're approaching it the wrong way. Could this be a club or a service group so we can then advertise in the magazine?
Yes, so we were talking about recommending them be a club. So as a club, you get 2 complimentary hours a month. at no charge.
Oh,
Which seems to cover
So-
exactly what you need, which I think
Yeah.
is the route we should probably go.
yeah.
And would you ever consider participating with the Windsor?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, funny enough, we're also, so I've been working very closely with Thriving in Place. We're having a Domino's tournament that we're going to be doing with them. That ARP is sponsoring the food, that we're bringing that in because Domino's has been shown to help with dementia, with Alzheimer's. So we're going to bring that in here as well. And then I have Becky from Thriving in Place who has been giving out those flyers and stuff for Windsor folks to come attend that. So we are trying to engage them as well. And Thriving in Place has kind of been my connection to that, to getting into Windsor as well. So we're willing to help. And again, I'm very blessed to have like a budget to like do all this. So like my goal is to do more with Celebration and the seniors in this community. So any connection to Windsor and other things that I can set up initiatives in the community, I have the funding to do it. If you guys just let me do it, I'm down to do all this and continue to support the community.
I have a question. When you say you are a non-profit organization, you are a 501c3?
Correct. Yeah,
Thank you.
AARP National is, yep, and I work with the AARP Florida state offices. So AARP is a big membership organization, but we also have AARP state offices. So I am with the Florida state office. So they have state offices in every 50 states and US territories, and I represent the Orlando area. So Osceola to Brevard.
Thank you for your time.
Now you get your 2 free hours a month. And then 2 weeks out, you can request additional time if it's available. So if it does grow, there's potentially the option to add a day if it's not being used. Is that right? Am I
Well, they're also doing this outside as well.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
So they
if
don't
it
even need to
continues-
use space.
Oh, yes, but
Well,
then
they got the
also,
pavilion.
they don't need to do waivers if they're a club.
Oh,
Then it just falls in the framework.
So they have we have a copy of their certificate of insurance.
Okay.
So they're covered under there. You can do is just ask for just a copy of like a blank waiver that you give to your participants.
Sure.
To ensure that there's enough residents. Maybe we can do like a roster with our partner programs. We ask for a number of participants to ensure that the committee knows that this is more residents than non-residents.
Mhm.
And just confirming for the record for the committee, there's no fees involved.
No, there's no fees involved. So we pay for everything.
And we do have other businesses that are clubs that are no fees involved. And that's how they can be a club on that. Their business provides the insurance. So in this case, because that was one of my questions, how does that work for AARP?
Yeah.
It is the business insurance, but because they are not charging, it can be considered a club. It's not a for-profit.
I love the thought of the bank club.
Do I have a motion in regards to Walk with the Dog to,
Huge.
I just want to make one comment. Sure. I really love what you guys are doing. A suggestion, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other medical people, maybe even retired people in the community. Maybe establish where they can volunteer to give you extra.
Yeah, we would love that.
People talk
great
with
idea.
for people walking.
Oh, definitely.
We would
We
love
want to recruit more volunteers to join us to be able to bring and be able to do more in the community. Definitely.
And as a partnered club, they can work with Lifestyle, Liz Communications to be
Oh,
a product
and you
collab.
could potentially do a profile in the magazine. You would be listed in the magazine. I
Oh,
just
that
feel
would be
like that's
awesome.
better
Thank you.
than just a waiver.
do I have a motion to move forward? John, Catherine, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
It is 6:40, guys, just to be, honor everyone's time. We have got a lot more on this, so don't get mad at me, Renly. Keep us on the clock on this one. So next is the DNA vending machine proposal that you have.
Actually,
Okay, I was like, where are they? Okay, so they are online. The proposal is here. Oh, thank you for the pin. I'm gonna open it up for discussion. This is similar to the foundation. They went and got more answers for us for what we asked. So this is what we have in front of us. Do we have any questions for Ashley on the line? Any comments or discussion?
My comment is that I believe the amount that they are offering for us per year is. I don't like it.
Minimal, are you saying?
Yes, it's too low
Too low of a cost to
Yeah.
come back to the
to the
community?
community.
I I also, is the master plan advisory group looking into things like this? I feel like, is it weird for us to approve new contracts while that's all being sorted out?
I do know that as far as them looking into something like a vending machine, I cannot confirm. I do know that they are looking at Lakeside Park, which is their number one location proposal. And there is talks about revamping, changing, I don't know the exact verbiage, but being different. So there is a chance that if we were to go in a contract with this, that we couldn't honor it based on what the master plan is doing, based on their current trajectory.
My recommendation would be to hold until we at least know what's happening with the.
So to table it for now until we have.
I just don't think we can extend a contract in good faith.
I agree.
Yeah,
Do
I
we-
agree.
Okay, do we have a motion to table the celebration vending machine installation until we are further down the road and know what the master plan is doing? Committee is doing with both Lakeside Park and Civic Corridor Field
I
Complex.
make a motion.
Marco, Catherine, all those in favor?
Right.
Aye.
I have a
All right.
question quick. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me, but this is Ashley from DNA. Been on the call. Just out of curiosity, is there a timeline on this? We've been in contact for several months with you guys, and just we need to know for our own business's sake what we're working with as far as the timeline for this master plan goes.
There is not an official date of what they're doing. I can tell you currently as we speak, the survey is out where the master plan committee is asking residents what they would like to see. So it is in the very green stages.
It's probably not, they're probably not gonna come forward with their recommendation till the end of July.
Don was saying nothing would be done until at least August.
So there would not be a recommendation on what to do with the space until late August. And then based on what the outcome of that proposal work needs to be done, I honestly cannot answer that.
Got it. Okay. I guess I wish we knew about this a couple months ago, just because we've been, staying in touch all the time with Nikki and just getting a lot of information. We do appreciate the time. But yeah, if we could get an update on the timeline, Nikki, as soon as you guys have it, then we can circle back to trying this again.
Chances are the next update would be after August, and we can definitely circle back accordingly based on what we learn.
Gotcha.
We've
All right.
all about and so
Yeah.
Moving on to number 7 for the Community Presbyterian Church for the Lakeside pull request. This is looking at Tuesdays and Thursdays from the end of July till the beginning. It looks like there's a number
June.
missing.
Yeah, sorry.
It's from the end of June to the end of, beginning of August. End of June to beginning of August. Looking from 10 a.m. to noon. This is, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So they did request 10 to noon, Tuesdays and Thursdays. However, summer breakout camp is at Lakeside Park. I told them they cannot share the pool with the campers or else it's going to be chaotic. So they got changed to 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. These fees have been waived previous years for them. I'm sorry, not previous years, for roughly 2 years. They used to pay $25 an hour. They charged lifeguards because CROA, that's when they switched to no longer having lifeguards. So that's why we waived the fees for them in the past so they could pay for a lifeguard. Last year, I recently found out the fees, I guess, were waived for the lifeguard. The lifeguards that they used offered complimentary time for them. So this is to determine whether we're charging them for a facility fee, whether you want to do $25 an hour. So it's consistent with everybody else and 2 complimentary hours a month. And then they're required to still have lifeguards on property.
I think it's key. So I think if we were to do the 2 for hours for anybody else and then pay per hour after that, we have to stick to what we've done in black and white. Just my 2.
Any other comments?
Well, they still gonna waive if we waive the fees, they're still getting the lifeguards. What if the lifeguards waive their fees? Do we charge them?
So that's a third party. We wouldn't be able to know. We just recently found out.
Oh, there's tuition for the camp. It's not a free camp. So I
So then
I
no
feel
fee,
like keep
no
it
waiving.
consistent.
Do I have a motion to do 2 free hours a month? And then the rest, there would be an additional charge of $25 an hour for the pool. Catherine? Lindsay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, okay. You have what you need?
I do, yes. Thank you.
We did the swim teams. We're moving on to the Special Olympic torch run.
Oh, awesome. Sounds very nice.
I do want to point out that this one is a little bit different because Market Street, the actual street, is now a rentable space. So like when we look at this to comparing it to other organizations, this is not the rules that we had previously may or may not apply based on what the committee suggests, but I do think it's important to highlight it's not space in this case like we would put in. In this case, they will bring tents, they will bring portalets, tables, chairs, AV equipment, sound system, Market Street. We do have the police that's here and they do the final leg that is there. What was there, Nikki, as far as staff from us for this?
So the only thing that we do, this is an equipment request. This is located downtown, as Victoria said. We just retrieve the equipment for them. So it's about it's like 100 tables, 200, 300 chairs roughly. We put it on the trailers. The sheriffs actually come here, hitch the trailers to their trucks. They bring it downtown. They do their whole setup, clean up, and then they bring it right back.
And are we considered a sponsor?
We have not in the past, but we can ask them to be a sponsor for this event.
Yeah.
I feel like if we're a sponsor for it, it's in line with what we've done for other events like the marathon and everything. So there's the precedent set and then we're staying consistent.
Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. If we're sponsored, this, we're part of the events. Yeah, I'm about that.
More than just space. Mhm. Do I have a motion to approve with the request to be a sponsor? Rob, second. Marco, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to Pink on Parade equipment. Similar to what we just did with Special Olympics, this is not on rentable space to our residents. They're seeking donations for tents and chairs and a support for raising money for breast cancer. Have we been a sponsor in the past for this one?
We have the second page says sponsorship packages. This was from 2023. So depending on how much the equipment rate is will determine the sponsor level. They know that they do have to pay for staff time. So this is basically a motion to be a sponsor, but they're required to pay for staff time. So
Because unlike the torch run, the police took that off. Our team staff would take it away.
Well, I think Fred's been.
Yeah, I agree.
They're consistent.
Do I have a motion to approve with the request to be a sponsor again, plus paying for staff time, with the number of equipment needed to correlate to what sponsor category we fall into?
motion.
Catherine, Don, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous for that one. Advent Health Volleyball request.
So this is a new request. The Advent Health Fitness Center reached out. They want to start doing volleyball tournaments within their departments, and they're required to use it North Village beach or sand volleyball courts every Thursday from June through August. So it's roughly 10 weeks from 5 to 7 p.m. Normally a facility request doesn't really come through here, but it's a consistent schedule. So any reoccurring, Danny and I discussed, we're just going to bring it to the committee to see if you're okay with it. They don't have a problem paying any rates, but this is just so we can continue with this facility rental request. We did reach out to them and ask for kind of like a safety plan about parking concerns and whatnot. They said roughly there shouldn't be no more than, because there's only going to be 2 games going at once. They said that there shouldn't be more than 30 people at a time. So you do see 60. That's just a total of participants, but it's a tournament. So not everybody will be there on that Thursday.
And they have insurance.
They would have, yes, they would have to give us a copy of their certificate of insurance.
Are there other things that we know of that it conflicts with? Like, are we kicking other people off of support?
So since
What's
it's
that timeline like?
Yeah.
right, we do have beach volleyball with Mr. Moda. That's usually Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays. And then we have Stefania tennis. That's roughly in the mornings as well as Wednesday and weekends. So we'll ensure that doesn't conflict with their schedule. However, I know when we did the 2024 facility rental rates, we did remove sand courts as a rate. So folks would come in here. So I know in the past 2023, I believe it was $15 an hour for residents to utilize the courts. So would you like to continue with that, or like you do with 2024, you increased it like double the amount? So would you like to do $30 an hour for both courts?
I think that's fair. I think we need to stay consistent with what we did for the other facilities. So if that's what we did, fee wise, I think it just needs to be consistent across the board.
And it's the difference between beach volleyball and sand tennis, that those are residents, or this is an organization that, or
That's-
corporation.
Correct. Yeah, the other two are clubs that they
Okay.
have to have a certain amount of residents. So what we can do is, in order to receive that resident rate of $30 an hour, we have to get a roster to determine the number of residents versus non-residents.
Okay.
If it exceeds the 50%, we would charge them a non-resident rate, which could be double. So it's
I think that's a great solution.
$60 an hour.
You said they're probably staff, hospital staff.
Yeah.
Correct. This is
So they
all
might
hospital.
easily meet the 50%, but if they
Yeah.
don't, you already said they're willing to
Yeah.
pay, so that's already set up in the.
Do I have a motion to approve this with the request for a roster to determine resident versus non-resident rates, looking at the previous rates that were quoted in 2023? What was $15 an hour, it would be doubling to $30 an hour, as we did with all other rentable space in our town. Do I have a motion? Lindsay, second.
Second.
Marco, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on for the recommendation on the CCFC field. This is actually, the next few points are more discussion than action items. So I am going to, we have 7 minutes left. Does anybody have a hard stop at 7?
I have a hard stop at 7:15.
Okay, I'm gonna give us 10 minutes for this one, 10 minutes for the tennis one, and then 5 minutes for final comments. You're on the clock.
Okay, so long story short, I've been working with Lauren on, we had concerns in the past. I know Marco, with you using the fields out there, that the drainage doesn't work properly.
It was nice and cool when
Yeah.
the door was open.
Start hearing the kids.
That the drainage doesn't work properly. So if it does rain, it takes roughly almost like 2 days, close to 3 days to fully get someone back on the playing field. So we did some research, did a quick RFP on if we properly drain these fields for natural turf on both field 1 and 2. We found 3 bids. However, with their the pricing for the bids is roughly between $500,000 to $1.2 million. So I wanted to bring it to the rec committee to determine, would you like us as management to look at synthetic turf as well? Or what is the overall goal as a committee you would like to see at the CCFC complex? So we can also bring it to the master plan advisory group to determine if we really want to continue with this RFP or not.
So option 1 is fix the problem, fix the drainage that is
But
there.
keep it grass.
But keep it grass,
Correct,
not
yeah.
turf. Option 2 is changing to a turf. And option 3 is changing to a synthetic turf.
So, so option 2 would basically be the same as 3. We would turn field 2 into synthetic turf or review alternatives for synthetic turf and keep field 1 as like a natural turf. So maybe potentially lacrosse could play on it. We can have like lawn sports or whatnot, so we can offer more offerings out there. So, residents know that it's a multi-purpose complex and not just specifically for soccer.
And these are the fields, where are these things?
Right behind the library.
Yeah, street food. I'm there
How much
7
would it
days a
cost to
week.
fix the problem?
So to fix it, there's three different bids. One bid is $500,000. The second bid was 670,000, and the last bid was 1.2 million.
Well, wouldn't the drainage have to be fixed regardless of grass or turf or synthetic?
Correct, but with that high rate, would you like us as management to look at synthetic turf to see if it's only $200,000 more, it could be $500,000 more? You know what I mean? Because at least with synthetic turf, you would be playing on it even in the rain.
The other fields,
So-
even with the proper drainage, they get closed for weather.
It's the drainage is not only field two. Field two is it's worse. But
Yes.
field one is being cleared as well. But I'm there 7 days a week. On Saturdays, like almost 14 hours directly on Saturday, Sunday. Kids, adults, everybody there. And I'm not good vote of this, but I, as a discussion, I like to have. I would love to have for our community 2 synthetic turfs over there. It's 24/7.
You like it
Yeah.
better?
Everybody, lacrosse can use it, flag football can use it, soccer can use it, lawn sports can have field one. We can have plan for softball or baseball for youth guys. I was talking to Alex this
So there's a
weekend.
broader reach to the community, especially for some of the things that weren't they potentially going to be behind Heritage Halls and the lawn sports? This could then open up to them. Don't they tend to use morning hours when kids are in school?
They use the East Village field, and now previous boards was looking at doing the Spring Park open field. I'm not sure if there was with the lawn sports group as well as board. I don't know what truly happened, but they ended up not continuing with that request.
Okay.
But we're just trying to look at different offerings to, if we did do like whether a fix or a new upgrade to the fields, we can invite more groups out there.
I think if you're dropping that kind of money, put a little bit more in. I mean, it's easy to say because it's not my not my dime. But if you're going to be doing numbers that high, wouldn't you want to do something that serves the broader community than a specific?
So the recommendation right now, though, is just to shop.
To invest.
Do we want Grand Manors to shop?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the
Like
high
football and the money, you know, it's not
Yeah, but
about
they're
money.
all in the middle, right.
But yeah, I think you have to explore it,
I
obviously.
think the more information we have, the more educated decision we can propose to grow accordingly.
Because right now with the fields, when we used to have lacrosse out there, it would basically be like rock, paper, scissors, who has like the largest group to use the synthetic turf, you know, so.
Yeah.
Saying something.
So we mentioned East Lawn, we mentioned Spring Park. What about Arson Park? Besides the clubhouse, are we in charge of their greenery areas?
The only thing we oversee out there is the amphitheater. But that's mostly utilized for weddings.
How's that big field?
Yeah.
The clubhouse?
So right across the clubhouse at the.
It can be used as a recreational, but the CCFC, the complex is like 320 per 60 yards. Yes, you can use, you
larger.
cannot use for professional because it's small, but you can use for recreational and you can sell for division you want.
everybody's cars.
Yeah.
Right, that was a goal.
Events, special events and everything.
That was a goal for the complex, is to move the recreational programs out to the complex so residents can utilize those open
More green
fields.
spaces.
I know.
Katie, so the new RFP, what will that be? Sorry.
So what we would do is this recommendation would go to that master plan advisory meeting on May 14th. I was just gonna invite the 3 bids. So we have LGT Sports, which does like that's a 1.2 million. They're the ones who do the San Diego Waves. Like they do more of like the MLS soccer fields.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 that candidates that are mostly like in Florida stationed IDA Development and Medley Sports Construction, which one was 543,000 and the other bid was 673,000. So what we would do is if this committee made a recommendation, it would go to the meeting on May 14th to the master plan advisory group to see if they can make a recommendation as well. So that way I could determine to tell these candidates whether or not we should bring this to the board's attention. As management, we did table it. It was going to the board meeting last week, but we decided that we wanted to bring it to the committee first, as well as a master plan advisory committee first before we brought it back to the board.
But those numbers are just talking about the drainage.
This is just talking about drainage and replacing the natural turf. So after they're
I
done.
hate to say this, but is this the whole drainage that came up with the whole pickleball thing?
Yeah,
It's
this is
all
the drainage
part of that?
So would there be, are you also discussing a second RFP then
We would have to do another RFP for synthetic turf.
Okay, so that is that being decided now? or
So
like-
we would have to get the recommendation from this group, master plan, and then it'll go back to the.
There's
board.
multiple
That's a
steps
partner
still to get
program.
to.
As a partner program, I suggest to have the synthetic turf for that, because you can have lacrosse, soccer all together at the same time, because
When you're not.
when it's
paying to
raining,
do anything.
it's not nice. When it's
What-
raining, like
Yeah.
we start now about 1 or 2 weeks of raining and 3 months of rain. It hurts both programs. It's fine. And
All right,
Mickey
we're-
and his crew is doing an amazing job over there. That guy over there sitting is saving a lot of money for Croy and yeah, it's
What,
huge work. Thank you so much.
what's besides the extra cost of synthetic turf, and the feeling kind of off and potential for more rug burn-ish like injuries, what would be the positive of keeping it as natural turf, at least one of the fields?
As natural grass, as grass.
As grass the way it is.
Natural turf. What's the positive?
Real pros and
To
cons.
have synthetic turf,
No,
No,
to keep it grass,
to keep it
what's the
grass.
argument for
Okay,
doing
pro,
that? Like,
pro.
we
Are
can.
there
we can
some
keep it-
lawn sports that would require grass in town?
Yes, but it's also, you have some groups like lacrosse, they play tournaments on natural turf fields. So when I offer the synthetic turf, that's why they're at the Spring Park open field, because the ball rolls a little bit different on synthetic versus natural turf.
So the natural does affect certain sports.
So that's why it wouldn't be all 3 fields synthetic. We were saying just additional. So if it does rain on field 1, there's opportunity to move to
So you
field
keep
2.
one field grass.
Can Little League be on synthetic turf or would it have to be natural?
Little League, there's not any baseball fields out there. It's all,
You mean
It's not big enough.
the
You
ones,
just
Kiwi
can't fill it.
soccer, what's it called? Tropics, is
Tropics.
that it?
No,
It
the
would
reason I'm asking is because if we're gonna do synthetic
Right now,
turf
we're
and we're gonna get a vendor, if we could
Right.
possibly have them work on the East Lawn kickball court to make it into a Little League field.
it is
That
not
could-
large enough. It's not,
I don't know. I feel
because
like
even
it's-
for coach pitch, it doesn't qualify. It qualifies for T-ball, but it doesn't qualify for coach pitch in it.
They
What-
need
what's the-
65 yards, and we don't have that today.
Are we sure?
Uh-huh.
What's the dimensions of the field there?
I have it at home, but I worked on it for 2 years.
Little League doesn't fit on East Lawn. They did this back in 2021.
Because right now.
We tried.
This
We
field
tried.
here, it doesn't qualify for all of Little League. It doesn't even do for juniors and up. Only to majors. All right, so in keeping with time, so we can do our final discussion. All those in favor of making a recommendation to the master plan committee that we would like to do additional shopping for not only drainage solutions, but adding synthetic turf for field 2, leaving field 1 as natural. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Moving on to tennis instructor discussion.
Motion and second.
Oh, I didn't ask for a motion. Do you have a motion?
I make a
please?
motion.
Okay.
Thank you, Marco.
I'll second.
Okay, Catherine.
Sorry,
Go again.
raise your hand. Since we're moving to tennis, I realized what a hotbed and how passionate people are about this. So I went down to the courts and I took a picture of the schedule and I logged how much free time there is, which I have a copy for everyone. I also altered the schedule by half hours in the morning so that lessons wouldn't start at 8:30, so that the courts would be free from 7 to 8:30, which added up a couple of hours. For like the Monday, they would add 4 hours, 2 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, and 3 hours. So I'd like to give you each a copy so that you can take a look.
So how
So that
did
we
you- how
have
did you
some
get the
information.
first hour? What'd you do?
I backed like the actual hour is 7:30. I pushed it up to 8:30. If that's okay, we'll work with Advantage Tennis. I don't know what their contract is,
Yeah, partnership.
but it
program.
does add a few more
Majority of
hours.
it is the residents, right?
But this is, well, we're just working on it now.
I like it.
While she's passed, go ahead.
Did Advantage Tennis move their times back?
That was the club.
So it was the clubs moved their time back. I meet bi-weekly with Darren. I have another meeting on Thursday with them. I've been trying to be very strict with them to ensure there's hasn't been any further complaints. This is specifically not about Darren, surprisingly. This is about additional pros utilizing the courts.
They're advertising
Yes.
on Facebook too.
So this is the situation
Uh-huh.
that we have now, not only in tennis, we also have it in swimming and we also have it in our gyms with,
Personal trainers.
thank you, personal trainers. So what happens is I am, want to take tennis lessons from Danny. And Danny is, on the court with me and he's got his basket, he's got his cones, we got the full on tennis lesson going on. And I say, oh, Danny's my brother. It's family and I am a resident. Here's my card. And so I can have family. But then Danny is also now miraculously Lindsay's brother because Lindsay's out there a little bit later. And so we are seeing this as a trend. Not only are we seeing it as a trend as for what they're telling our park monitors, but it is on Celebration Back Porch that they are advertising, take lessons from so-and-so. They are building a business there. This goes against what we have from a partner program perspective. As I said, we're also seeing it in swim lessons being given to kids when we have a partner program for that. But specifically, we are talking about tennis today. There are multiple solutions that have been proposed. In the past, we've talked about there being a designated park monitor for that place. We have talked about the possibility of long-term saying you get so many passes per address that you can use, whether it's at tennis or a July 4th event or the pool or whatever. We talked through all of that. But what we have to come up with is a plan for today, something because as a result, many people do think it's Advantage Tennis. So now they're complaining because Advantage Tennis has the courts all the time, even though they're not supposed to, but it's not, they're no longer with it. There are previous employees of Advantage Tennis that are supposedly giving these lessons as well.
And they're
So
not
there's
residents.
confusion
They're
there.
residents.
They are residents,
Didn't we
but
talk
they're.
about them having the uniforms? Don't we know?
There has been that, and there has been the talk of doing the signs,
Right.
but like we did have it recently where the wind came through and took them all out. So we're adapting to that. As a proposed solution, something could be where we could say, similar to what she said, you cannot have a basket, you cannot have cones. If so, a park monitor can ask you to stop teaching. Even if you are a resident, we have a partner program that provides teaching if you want that kind of teaching.
Can't we find, I know we have our community, Barney Price drives around, but can't we have someone, a retired person that, has time and sit there and monitor?
It would have to, based on what we found the last time, it would have to be part-time during peak hours. And if I recall, we were looking at 40,000 more per year.
No, if it's someone that's doing it their time. One person that's just.
My worry with the donation is where's the accountability? I'm just a volunteer.
Of course, but better than what we have now.
Sure.
And I think there's some passionate residents that don't want to see things abused and would, monitor properly.
How would we, and this is a question, how would we enforce any authority? So if I'm volunteering and I'm there Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., let's just say random. And I come and I see Danny giving Lindsay lessons again, and I say, you can't do it. I'm a volunteer. What can I really tell Lindsay and Danny to do?
Right, but I feel like I would be uncomfortable having a volunteer. These tennis people are very passionate. I'm not sure if you ever interacted with one, but I love how passionate they are. But as far as a staff member, I would prefer someone like a staff member deal with those than a volunteer.
And do you have the staff? If we said, okay, Nikki, you and your team has the authority to tell them no baskets, no cones and all of that. Do you have the staff to do that?
For the morning, we do not. Like if the people that you see in this table are the 3 that work in the mornings. So if we're constantly, I have all the tennis players' numbers in my work phone. They constantly text us every second of the day. So when I leave the office, that's why there's phone calls missing from Parks and Rec, emails missing from Parks and Rec, because we're monitoring the facilities a little bit more during the mornings. However, the evenings, we can have this be a high point. I know that, I believe we sent you an email about it. Megan Lakeside, a high priority. So there's certain areas we can ask the park monitors. Some nights we only have one park monitor. Other nights we do have 2 park monitors. So we could make it work roughly in the evenings. But as far as the mornings, we don't have the manpower as of right now to sit out there during prime time.
Right. And again, back to my, if you
Right.
have a volunteer that called you, I mean, if I just walk over there right now and go play tennis, I have no idea if the people out there should be there or not. I mean, I think that's the first thing we have to figure out. How do we determine that?
And how do you determine if, just say, I'm teaching my friend, but I'm not taking any money? Is that still considered a lesson?
Well, that's where the idea from earlier
Right.
was if you're not allowed to have canister of balls, you bring in your three, 6.
balls.
I don't play tennis. I don't know what's normal.
Yeah.
But if you bring in your amount, you're not bringing in codes, you're not doing drills, you're just teaching a friend how to do a stroke. I think that's
It's more
different.
to
than
protect the
something that-
partner.
Yes, no, I would.
Looks like a duck,
Yeah.
sounds like a duck, is a
Exactly.
duck.
No, that's why I was
It's
asking.
more to protect partner
Yeah.
program, avoid sneaky people to go there
Yeah.
and hurt partner programs and
And what do
bad
we,
professionals and everything.
what do we need to do to make an official proposal to CROA? Because I feel like we keep coming back to this park
Yes.
monitor
Yeah.
that is in a designated space, part-time, part evening, part morning. If we are ready as a committee to say we have really looked at this 50 different ways, this is the solution we keep coming back to, and we're ready to propose that to go to the budget now. What does that look like?
As far as a recommendation, I mean, I can add it to the 2025 budget, and when it goes to the board, I can kind of put in a line item of a need for an additional staff member in Parks and Rec. As far as having a staff member right now, that's a recommendation to give to the CROA board to review at their meeting. Because we more than likely, we probably don't have it in the budget for 2024 to have an additional staff member sit out there. So that's something that may need to be reviewed with the finance committee. I could further discuss that with Lauren as well after this recommendation. But what would be helpful as far as management is when we go out there, I'm just gonna choose you, Lindsay.
Great, I'm the rotten egg.
If I ask for your ID, you're a resident in good standings, but I see you with all that equipment, I think it's a great recommendation, so we could bring it to the board level, so we all have each other's backs, is if I see you with equipment out there, I, as management, can ask you to leave. Because if you're in good standings and you're telling me right now, I'm a resident, I'm not teaching them, and I kick a resident off the court, it just doesn't look good.
No, there has to be a rule in place.
Correct.
And you're following and implementing the rule.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be a set of rules.
I think that's probably the only short-term solution. I think the long-term solution is definitely trying to add.
I think both should go now. I think it should be on CROA's radar that this is our proposal coming.
Yeah.
Even as recent as the last CROA meeting, one of the board members was like, what's the latest with tennis? So I know there is a hunger to try and find a solution from their point of view as well. And I think it looks good on this committee to say this is our recommendation, whether you can do it now or it has to wait till 2025. We're ready to get behind this 100%.
My only thing about it is they talk about having someone there part-time. It would not take long for the instructors to figure out that the guy's not here, blah, blah, blah. And maybe we don't care if they're not doing it not during peak hours, I don't care as much.
Good point.
But they're gonna figure it out. Not gonna take long to figure out what hours someone's there. So it's gotta be full-time or nothing.
As if 2:00, some people do some lessons, you know what I mean? Like, we don't figure it out until someone posts it on the back porch, so there will always be gray areas, unfortunately.
And also with having part-time people, you cut down on the cost because you don't have to pay benefits.
Yeah, but I still say that they will learn to get around that.
But even full-time hours,
It's gonna be.
the
like that
prime
too.
time hours are outside of your standard 9 to 5. So even with someone who's on
Yeah.
full-time, the prime times are a chunk in the morning and a chunk in the night.
Yeah.
You can't have somebody there. It would have to be 2 different people. So I think you at least start part-time and then monitor.
Part-time
That's
instructor,
okay.
30
Go back
hours.
The proposal could be 1 year at part-time with an request to review 6 months in so that it's ready in time for the next budget.
Right.
If we are
But what do we
like,
do for the rest of this year?
the rest of this year, I think the proposal would be going what Nikki said, is that we would propose it to CROA that current park monitors can enforce that you can't do this and you need to leave.
And the year ends May 30th, right? Or is it June 30th?
Fiscal year, no, okay. Is it calendar year?
I
Is the
believe it's
budget on the
calendar
calendar?
year.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking fiscal years.
So you're good. All right, do I have a motion to suggest that we will have our park monitors be authorized to enforce requesting people to leave when they are giving a full out lessons with lots of equipment. All that would be permitted are the rackets and up to 6 balls. Would be the first part A of that motion. Part B of that, going to as well, would be that we would propose a part-time status monitor in that area, not only to help with tennis, to also monitor basketball, which we had
And
discussed previously. And then it would be for part-time hours with a review at 6 months to see if it's working or not, and then propose that would be a monitored all the time that it's open based on what we learned.
If I may make an amendment,
Yeah.
since they're in the area, if they could also monitor the pool and the playground. Because I have noticed, I'm sure many of us also noticed, a lot of tourists and people visiting the town were often, I can't remember the word, but they'll solicit, get into the playground, get into the.
We can amend it to Lakeside area,
I think
which would
Lakeside area is
cover.
That's
great.
great.
Because they'll pull the
Many for
gate
the
too. until it's
CCFC as
ready.
well,
Mm,
including,
do what?
you can mention CCFC as well.
Yeah.
The complex, including if they have residents have bad behaviors or harassing people over there.
Yes,
I
to
think
Dory's
We're
comment.
we're getting into security, like officers. And I know that was discussed at the last board meeting. As of right now, they're at Lakeside, Spring Park, and Heritage Hall.
Yep.
But I would probably recommend just keeping the staff members stationed at Lakeside.
It's a big area.
Yeah.
So everything I just said amended to, including Lakeside area.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Hi.
We have just a couple minutes for any committee member
I have
comments.
to go, you guys. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
I would really like to thank Lindsay for 2 years, Lindsay.
2 years.
2 years of service.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the recreation committee. We appreciate you.
Who missed
Take care.
Um,
There's always owner comments.
I have a quick proposal. So I keep hearing that Little League has no home. The county's not, let's use the Little League field right here. Island Village is going through phases of being built. And so I would propose we have discussions with the developer of Island Village to, when they do their phases, maybe set aside an area for Little League field. That way our community has a Little League field.
As far as I'm aware, because I live in Island Village, it's all planned out.
Let me,
Maybe, but I mean,
No, it is definitely planned.
maybe
out.
planned out, but it can be amended. It hasn't been done yet.
John, I know
There's no
Master Plan
honestly.
Advisory Group, and Katie can correct me if I'm wrong. We're talking about lot F behind lot D. Behind Field 3, we have a huge space over there. So
Okay.
Master Plan, I know they are talking about that. It's not on the survey right now, but it's something.
Okay.
It's a huge space over there, so we can give you two.
City County.
Well, apparently, we're not able to use those fields.
Yes, they call it lock, they school.
It's available to Little League, but not to a resident to be able to go and play on. But Little League, yes, but if I want Sunday afternoon to go play baseball with my buddies, and I'm 12 years
You
old. or
go down
whatever,
and eat lunch.
yeah, it's not available. And that is a pain point.
That's a problem.
I mean, if you want softball, it'd be nice to have a field with fence area.
There's no sandlot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess discuss maybe developing East Lawn, even if we can't use it for Little League, maybe put a sandlot there. Or it could be adults. If Little League's able to use here, if I was under the wrong impression, I guess, maybe put that there.
Is there any reason we don't have, an official field there? It's a big area.
They already got the back thing for the
Yeah,
back.
It's not Little League Road. regulation for the distance. It is only for T-ball for it to count for a Little League game. Now, there, a resident can go and play sandlot anytime they want, but for a regulation Little League game, it only accommodates T-ball. Doesn't accommodate coach pitching up.
Seems pretty big that. Babe
Talked
Ruth
it with
playing?
professionals, I promise. Yeah, because we thought it would be now for the fall, because that's not an official season, we can't do coach pitch there because it's not.
Right.
It's a practice season.
Right.
So we have done in the past both coach pitch and T-ball there.
Maybe develop that, give it sand area for the running lanes and pitching. Be it fun.
I also want to thank John for his year of service. We appreciate you very much. He is, we got to meet his daughters earlier and he's probably rather be here. He's going to be busy. But
This is
thank
the
you very
quiet
much.
time.
As well as Marco, he is going to a new committee. He dumped us. He is going to special events. That's correct.
Yes.
Yes, special events.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. We appreciate you. You definitely came in and pitch hit mid-season, so we appreciate you jumping in and helping us out. Do I have any other committee comments, questions, concerns? Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting? Rob, second, John. All those in favor?
Aye.
Everybody have a great night.
Thank you.